All right, so where we left off, I had brought my hand-drawn type into Illustrator and made it into a vector layer. And then I was placing it. I separated out the bottom from the top, placed it in. And now the next separation I can do, notice how I lock layers as I go, to kind of see what I'm working on. The next thing I would probably do is separate out the actual letters from the banners, at least any that I think I'd like to replace and make look a little bit fancier if I want to. Like I said, I like the hand lettering, but I also found all of these interesting ones that could work. So let me see, I'll show you how I would do that. Let's start with the top here. So what I would do is use this lasso tool for the vector. Make sure that layer is unlocked, and then lasso just around carefully the letters on that layer that I want to separate out. Then I copy. And then I'm going to create a new layer. Then I'm going to say edit paste in place. Okay? Then I can turn that off, go back to the one underneath, circle it again, and delete. I could just do Command X, and that will delete it and copy it for me to paste, but that means it would, well, actually that might work. It might paste in place. I didn't want it to have to be replaced. Okay, so I have it there, and now on that gray layer I'm also going to put my other lettering. So let me try the lasso and Command X trick. And then I simply go to my gray layer and say paste in place. Yes, that works very well. Okay. So let's do it all at once now. Just move all of this text onto its own layer. And I have to be careful not to select any other vector shapes with my lasso. Good. All right. If I hold down Shift, I can do multiple, just like in Photoshop with the lasso. I think I'll leave my initials the way they are. Okay, Command X, lock it, move to the gray layer, and then paste in place. All right, there we are. So if I want to replace those with a font tool, I can now do that. Make a new layer. I'm going to do a lock everything else, a type on path tool, right? To go with the banner. And then let's see, what should I use? This is a kind of a fast way to do it. If I want to use, if I want to use one of these, yeah, we'll try this one. The fast way to do it is just to select it, because it's a text tool, right? Copy it, and then paste it in. Oops. See? But I need to change the size. And so now that I have a different size, maybe I put in what I want. Then I just play with its adjustments. Now remember, it is a font tool until I make it something else. But when I want to do more with it than the fonts allow, and then this on path tool allows, then I can create outlines and just treat it like a regular vector. I want to do as much as I can as a font before that. And that includes rotating and all that. All right, so now if I like that, I put that in the wrong place. All right, let's move it to the right place. Well, that actually looks pretty good. And now I'll continue on with that. Steal it from here, paste it onto here, just change the lettering. First letter a little bit bigger. And on and on. So that's how you can replace hand-done fonts with vector, true fonts. And then if you want to work with them a little bit, you simply right-click, you select them, you right-click, and you say Create Outlines. And now they're all just vectors that I can play with individually, and I can customize to make them more interesting. It also allows me to play with the spacing and the angling and all of that. It allows me to move individual letters, even though I did them on the path. I can select them with the small selection tool and then kind of push them around, angle them a little bit differently. Just control every aspect. Grow them strangely. And because I like the look of hand-done choices, this makes a lot of sense. Obviously, the more text you have, the more customization that might require. It's not that I want the type to be more interesting than the image, but I don't want it to distract. And when things look too perfect to me, they tend to distract. All right, so you can kind of see how that works. The beauty is, as a vector, I can always go back and fix this later. So I want to show you kind of the other steps. So let's say that this is my final lettering. It's a nice mix of hand done and customized fonts. Though I do want to work with this a little bit. So now that they're outlines, I can select those out and I can use the large selection tool to manipulate them as a whole. Without having to redraw anything, I can kind of place them a little bit better. I really like this lasso tool on text because text is usually not overlapping other layers of vectors, but if it were, I would just lock those layers so I could select them independently. Yeah, that's working pretty well. All right, so the next step is to bring your type solution as a vector into Photoshop to color not just the type, and you could also color it here if you didn't want black, but also to put it on a background to make a poster. So I want to get to that so you can start playing with that. And then if I have time, I'll come back and work with my type some more. Because I want the type to feel very finished. And you'll be submitting the type on its own and then your poster for assignment 8. All right, so remember this layer, which looks very rough because it's just a preview raster image. Now we can turn that off. And we're left with only these vector images. And then I'm going to save this as assignment 8 font black and white solution as an EPS to the desktop. So now I have my vector finished type. And this is the black and white version, and I can color it within Photoshop. But you might also choose to color it, it's completely up to you, within Illustrator. So for instance, I can do this. And let's say, give it all a different color. And I might have to copy it over to a print mode to be able to do that, since it's limiting my colors right now. There we go. See? And I might like to play with that. So let's say that's what I wanted. Then I would save this as my color solution. And you would upload both your black and white solution and your color solution for this assignment. But I like to color it more in Photoshop, and I'll show you how you can do that. All right, now I can close these. Don't want to save that color change. All right, I've got my EPS files here, and now I'm going to open up assignment 7, my highest res finished PSD file. There it is. I'm going to build a lot more canvas size around it. Let's do 24 by 36 inches. It's probably bigger than I need. Sure enough, but it gives me plenty of room to put on my text. So I bring in the black. I size it and place it